There is a window opening in the sky that most people will walk past without realizing what they just missed. On May 1st, at 11:23 in the morning Eastern Time, the Sun and Moon meet at 11 degrees and 18 minutes of Taurus, a new moon, the darkest night of the lunar cycle, the moment when the soil of your life is softer than it will be at any other point this year, and what you plant in that soil during this window will determine what you harvest by November. But here is what nobody is telling you about this particular new moon. It does not arrive alone. It arrives inside the rarest manifestation corridor of 2026. Right now, every single planet in our solar system is moving forward. No retrograde anywhere. Mercury direct, Venus direct, Mars direct, Jupiter direct, Saturn direct, all of them pulling in the same direction like horses finally running together instead of fighting each other. This window opened in mid-April, and it closes on May 6th when Pluto stations retrograde. You have days, not weeks, days, and this new moon lands directly in the center of that window, in Taurus, the sign of the earth, the sign of the seed, the sign that understands something the rest of the zodiac often forgets, that real growth does not happen in a single dramatic moment. It happens slowly, invisibly, underground, in the patient darkness where roots are forming long before any green thing breaks the surface. In the next few minutes, you will discover 3 things that will change how you move through this week. First, what this new moon is actually activating in your body and your life, and why you may have already been feeling its approach for days. Second, the specific type of seed that Taurus is asking you to plant, not a metaphor, but a precise intention that matches the frequency of this lunation. And third, a planting ritual built for this exact window that will anchor your intention into the most fertile soil the sky has offered since the beginning of the year. Stay here because the ground is ready and the clock is already running. Let me show you the sky you are standing under. Because this is not poetry. This is architecture. The Sun entered Taurus on April 19th, beginning a month of fixed Earth energy. The bull, the builder, the part of the zodiac that does not rush because it knows that what is built slowly lasts longest. And now the moon catches up to the Sun at 11 degrees and 18 minutes of this sign, and for one moment they occupy the same space in the sky. A new moon is not visible. That is the point. While the full moon floods the night with silver, the new moon hides. It is the lunar cycle at its most internal, its most private, its most potent. The energy does not radiate outward. It draws inward. It gathers. It concentrates. And then it waits for you to give it a direction. At 11 degrees of Taurus, this new moon activates the second decan of the sign. In traditional astrology, the second decan of Taurus is associated with the moon herself, the moon in her own house within Taurus. This adds a layer of emotional depth and intuitive receptivity to what is already the most grounded sign in the zodiac. You are not just planting in good soil. You are planting in soil that is unusually sensitive to what you truly need, rather than what you think you want. But the architecture of this moment extends far beyond Taurus. Look at what surrounds this new moon. Venus, the ruler of Taurus, is currently in her home sign as well. The planet that governs love, beauty, value, and attraction is operating at full power in the same sign where this new moon lands. When the ruler of a lunation is strong and well placed, the entire intention of that lunar cycle is amplified. Venus in Taurus does not chase. She attracts. She does not convince. She magnetizes, and she is lending all of that power to whatever seed you plant on May 1st. Jupiter sits at 16 degrees of Cancer, his exaltation degree, the position where the planet of expansion and abundance operates at its absolute maximum. Jupiter in Cancer is the great nurturer, the one who makes things grow not through force but through faith, through generosity, through the quiet confidence that there is enough. And Jupiter is forming a supportive sextile to this Taurus new moon. That aspect is not flashy. It does not make headlines, but it is the difference between a seed that struggles and a seed that thrives. Mars is in Leo, adding fire and creative drive to the mix. The will to act, the courage to begin. Saturn and Neptune are together in early Aries, still carrying the energy of their historic conjunction that marked the beginning of a new collective cycle. And Uranus, the planet of sudden change and liberation, is in the final degrees of Taurus himself, about to make a once-in-84-year sign change into Gemini later this month. The ground beneath you is not just fertile, it is charged. It is humming with possibility that will not repeat in this exact configuration for decades. Now let me tell you what the ancients understood about this moment. Because May 1st has been marked as a threshold for thousands of years across dozens of cultures, and the reasons run deeper than most people realize. The Celts called it Beltane, the fire festival that stood opposite Samhain on the wheel of the year. If Samhain was the door into darkness, Beltane was the door into light. They lit bonfires on hilltops and drove their cattle between the flames to purify them before the summer grazing. They wove flowers into their hair. They stayed awake through the night. And at dawn they washed their faces in the morning dew, because they believed that the boundary between worlds was thin enough that magic could seep through into ordinary life. The Romans celebrated Floralia, the festival of Flora, goddess of flowers and spring. For 6 days around May 1st, the city became a riot of color and fertility. Seeds were scattered. Gardens were blessed. The message was clear. This is the hinge of the year. What you honor now determines what blooms later. In the Vedic tradition, the portion of the sky where this new moon lands corresponds to the nakshatra called Rohini, the red one, the fertile one. Rohini is associated with growth, creativity, and the ability to attract abundance without striving. The moon is said to be exalted in this region of the zodiac. She reaches her highest expression here, and when a new moon occurs in Rohini, the Vedic texts describe it as an especially auspicious time for beginning anything you want to see flourish. What all these traditions understood, separated by centuries and continents, is that the early days of May carry a particular frequency. The earth is not just warming, it is opening, and what you place in that opening during this narrow window has access to energies that will not be available again until next spring. The ancients did not need telescopes to know this. They felt it in their bodies. They watched what grew and what withered, and they aligned their most important intentions with the rhythms that governed everything that lived. Now let me tell you what has been happening in your body. Because your nervous system has been responding to this new moon for days, even if your conscious mind did not name it. The throat. Taurus rules the throat, the neck, the voice, the place where inner truth becomes outer sound. In the days leading up to this new moon, you may have noticed a tightness or sensitivity in this area, perhaps a scratchy feeling that is not quite illness, perhaps an impulse to speak something you have been holding back, perhaps the opposite, a strange reluctance to say what you usually say because the words no longer feel true. Your throat knows that this new moon is about value, about what you are willing to claim and name as yours, and it has been preparing for that declaration. The hands, an unusual awareness of what you touch, a desire to work with physical materials, to make something with your fingers, to feel texture and weight and substance. Taurus is the most sensory sign in the zodiac. It learns through touch. It trusts what it can hold. If you have been drawn to gardening, cooking, crafting, or any activity that involves your hands shaping matter, that is not random. That is your body aligning with the frequency of what is coming. The appetite. Some of you have noticed changes in what you crave, not just food, though that too. A craving for beauty, for comfort, for the things that make your animal body feel safe and held. Others have felt a strange emptiness in the stomach that food does not quite fill. This is Taurus hunger, not hunger for more, hunger for enough, hunger for the specific nourishment that matches what your soul actually needs, which may be very different from what you have been settling for. And the feet, an unusual pull toward the ground, a desire to walk barefoot, to sit on actual earth, to feel the stability of something beneath you that is not going anywhere. This is your body asking to root before you plant. You cannot put seeds in soil you are not connected to. Your feet have been trying to make that connection for days. If you have experienced any of these sensations, you now know why. Your body is an instrument. It registers cosmic weather, the way a barometer registers pressure. And the pressure of this new moon has been building since the middle of April. What happens on May 1st is not a beginning. It is a culmination of something that has already been preparing inside you. Now here is the question that this new moon is asking. And it is a question that Taurus asks better than any other sign, because Taurus is not interested in what glitters. Taurus is interested in what lasts. The question is this: what do you actually value? Not what you were taught to value. Not what you tell people you value, because it sounds evolved or responsible or safe. What do you actually value when no one is watching? What do you reach for in the dark? What would you rebuild if everything else burned down? Taurus strips away pretense. It has no patience for ideas that cannot become things. It wants to know what you would defend with your body, protect with your time, nurture with your presence. And this new moon is asking you to name that thing, not because naming it is poetic, but because naming it is planting it. And what you plant deliberately in fertile soil grows very differently from what you plant accidentally or not at all. Most people will move through this new moon without planting anything. They will feel the fertility in the air. They might even feel inspired. But inspiration without intention is just weather. It passes. It leaves nothing behind. The people who harvest abundance in November are the ones who plant with precision in May, and precision requires you to know what you are planting and why. This is where the ritual becomes essential, not as decoration, as technology, a specific method for taking the diffuse energy of this new moon and concentrating it into a form that the unconscious mind and the cosmic field can both recognize and respond to. Here is your planting protocol. 5 steps mapped to the 5 days surrounding this new moon. Each step builds on the last. Each step corresponds to one of the 5 senses that Taurus governs. Day 1 is April 29th, the day of sight. Before you can plant, you must see clearly what you want to grow. On this day, you will create a visual anchor for your intention. Find an image that represents what you want to call in, not a vision board with dozens of pictures. One image, one single visual, that captures the essence of what you are planting. Print it if you can. If not, save it somewhere you can see it daily. Place this image where it will be the first thing you see when you wake up on May 1st. Day 2 is April 30th, the day of sound. Taurus rules the throat. Your intention must be spoken to become real. On this day, write one sentence that begins with the words, "By November, I will have." Complete that sentence with your intention. Make it specific. Make it measurable. Make it something that you can actually verify in 6 months. Then speak that sentence aloud 7 times. Not whispered, not mumbled. Spoken at full volume as if you were announcing it to the sky. Because you are. Day 3 is May 1st, the day of touch. This is the new moon itself, the planting moment, before 11:23 in the morning Eastern Time if possible, but any time during the day will work. Go outside, find soil, actual earth. Place your bare hands in it, feel its texture, its temperature, its weight. While your hands are in the soil, speak your intention one more time. Then take a small object that represents your intention, a coin for financial abundance, a seed for creative growth, a small stone for stability, and bury it in that soil. This is not symbolic. This is the planting. The earth now holds your intention. The new moon witnesses it. The cycle begins. Day 4 is May 2nd, the day of smell. The intention has been planted. Now you must seal it. Find a scent that anchors the feeling of your intention already fulfilled. Perhaps it is a specific essential oil. Perhaps it is bread baking. Perhaps it is the smell of rain on earth. Whatever it is, encounter that scent deliberately on this day. Breathe it in deeply. Let it become associated in your body with the reality you are calling in. Smell bypasses the rational mind. It goes directly to memory and emotion. You are programming your nervous system to recognize your intention as real. Day 5 is May 3rd, the day of taste. Prepare a meal that you associate with abundance, not extravagance. Abundance. The two are very different. Extravagance is more than you need. Abundance is exactly what nourishes you fully. Sit down to this meal alone if possible. Before you eat, speak your intention one final time. Then eat slowly. Taste everything. Let every bite be a confirmation that you live in a world that provides what you need. This meal becomes the closing seal on the ritual. The 5 senses have all been engaged. The intention is planted in your body, as deeply as it is planted in the earth. Now let me show you where this lands based on your rising sign. Because the house where Taurus sits in your chart determines the specific area of life where this new moon plants its seed. If you are Taurus rising, this new moon falls in your first house. The seed you are planting is yourself, a new version of your identity, a new way of showing up in the world. The physical body may transform, the way others perceive you will shift. This is the most personal possible activation, the soil of who you are receiving something new. If you are Aries rising, the new moon lands in your second house. This is directly about money, resources, self-worth, and what you own. Plant a specific financial intention. a number, a possession, a shift in how you value yourself and what you charge for your time. If you are Pisces rising, the new moon activates your third house. The seed involves communication, learning, siblings, or your immediate environment. Perhaps a course you want to complete, a book you want to write, a relationship with a sibling you want to heal. Plant it now. If you are Aquarius rising, the fourth house is activated. Home, family, roots, the foundation beneath everything else. This is where you plant intentions about where you live, how you live, and the sense of safety you carry inside you, regardless of location. If you are Capricorn rising, the fifth house lights up. Creativity, children, romance, pleasure, the things you make for the joy of making them. Plant an intention about what you want to create, who you want to love, or how you want to experience joy over the next 6 months. If you are Sagittarius rising, the sixth house is your ground, health, daily routines, work habits, service. This is where you plant seeds about your body, your schedule, and the ways you show up every single day. Small consistent changes planted now yield massive results by November. If you are Scorpio rising, the seventh house receives this new moon. Partnerships, marriage, close collaborations. The seed you plant is about another person, or about how you show up in relationship. Be precise. The field will respond literally. If you are Libra rising, the eighth house activates. Shared resources, investments, transformation, intimacy, death and rebirth. This is deep soil. Plant intentions about healing what has been stuck, releasing what no longer serves, or deepening a bond that requires vulnerability. If you are Virgo rising, the ninth house is your field. Higher learning, travel, philosophy, publishing, beliefs that shape your reality. Plant a seed about expanding your world, completing an education, or sharing your knowledge with others. If you are Leo rising, the 10th house receives this energy. Career, public reputation, legacy, what you are known for. This new moon plants professional intentions. Be specific about where you want to be in your work life by November. If you are Cancer rising, the 11th house lights up. Community, friends, networks, hopes for the future. The seed you plant is social. It involves the groups you belong to, the people who support your vision, and the collective contribution you want to make. If you are Gemini rising, the 12th house is activated, the most hidden house, the realm of the unconscious, of solitude, of what happens when no one is watching. This is where you plant seeds that only you will see growing. Spiritual practices, healing work, release of what has been carried too long. This new moon does not discriminate. It offers fertile soil to every sign. But what grows depends entirely on what you plant and whether you plant at all. There is one more element I must share with you before we close. Because the context of this new moon extends beyond its immediate moment, what you plant on May 1st will grow through a very specific 6-month period, and understanding that period helps you understand what kind of seeds to choose. Between May and November, you will experience the full moon in Taurus on November 5th. That is your harvest date, the completion of this cycle. Whatever has grown from what you plant this week will be visible by then. But the growing season between these 2 points includes several significant passages. Uranus will leave Taurus for the first time in 7 years later this April, entering Gemini and bringing revolutionary change to a completely different area of life. The ground that has been destabilized since 2018 finally settles. This new moon is one of the last chances to plant in Taurus soil while Uranus is still there shaking things loose. Use that disruption as tilling. Let it break up the hard ground so your seed can reach deeper. Pluto stations retrograde on May 6th, just 5 days after this new moon. The Lord of the Underworld begins his backward journey through your psychological depths. Whatever you plant now will grow through a period of shadow work and transformation. Choose seeds that can handle the darkness. Choose intentions that become stronger under pressure. Jupiter remains in Cancer through most of this period, continuing to offer support and expansion to water signs and anyone willing to receive emotional growth. The seed you plant has access to this nurturance all season long, and Venus will move through multiple signs, changing costume, but never losing power. She remains an ally to everything you plant under her rulership. Trust her to beautify what you begin. This is the forecast for your growing season. Not easy, not without challenges, but fertile beyond measure for those who plant deliberately rather than leaving their fields to chance. If something moved in you while you listened, write it in the comments. Not the polished version. Not what you think you should want. The raw seed, the true thing. Name it publicly, and you multiply its power. Someone scrolling through tonight needs to see that they are not the only one who wants what they want. Your honesty gives them permission. If there is someone in your life who has been waiting for the right moment to begin something, who has been carrying a seed in their pocket without finding soil to plant it in, send them this video. The window is open. The ground is ready. And they may not find another field this fertile for a very long time. Subscribe and turn on notifications because what grows from this new moon will need tending. The coming weeks will bring shifts that require understanding, and I will be here to walk you through each one. Every video takes hours of research and preparation. Your support is the water that keeps this garden alive. The universe has prepared the soil. The new moon has opened the window. The seed is already in your hand. The only question left is whether you will plant it or let it stay in your pocket until the ground freezes again. May 1st arrives whether you are ready or not. The only thing you control is what you place in the earth before the window closes. The universe has spoken. What grows next is in your hands.